So let's talk about the definition, or how can we define American regionalism? Now, the term itself does not signify an organized movement. Rather, again, like precisionism, we're looking at an aspect of broad tendency for American artists, in this case, to move away from abstraction and the avant-garde between the world wars. Now, keep in mind, there are other movements at the same time between the world wars. They're moving towards abstraction, such as precisionism. But here, they're working against. And oftentimes, we have two different movements at the same time moving in separate directions. It's very common throughout history. Look at the Europeans with realism and romanticism happening at about the same time as one example. Now, these works will stress a couple of different ideas. For example, we will see local small-town themes, and that is, strictly speaking, known as American regionalism. This sort of small-town depiction or country depiction. Whereas if we move into the city, we're suddenly going to be looking at social realism, which looks a lot like propaganda in this case, and oftentimes does serve a very similar purpose. So when we see urban scenes within American regionalism, it is known as social realism, following the same basic trends and ideas that we will see with realism out of Europe about 75 years earlier. Now, regionalism is a realist, modern American art movement, where an artist shunned the city and rapidly developed technical advances to focus on scenes of rural life. So they're avoiding the technology, they're looking at rural life. Just like precisionism happening at the same time is focusing on technology and ignoring rural life. So again, two sides. The regionalist style was at its height from 1930 to 35, and the best known artists were, of course, the regionalist triumvirate of Grant Wood, who we're going to be looking at, along with Thomas Hart Benton of Missouri and John Stuart Curry in Kansas. Now, during the Great Depression of the 1930s, these artists, the regional artists, will gain wide appreciation for their reassuring images of the American heartland. And much of this appreciation, I should point out, is very populist. It's coming from the people, from away from the sort of bright lights of the art market. So we're not seeing Frank Stieglitz and Gertrude Stein and others that we've been hearing about getting involved here. Instead, this is the average American kind of getting involved. So we have that difference between the people and the avant-garde, and we're seeing that here with precisionism versus American regionalism.